Welcome back to Sportsworld. Time for racing now. Mahogany Max Presnell about to join us. Max, you haven't sacked Keith, have you? But we've given him the day off. Is that the reason?
Bruce, you do look lonely without your minder.
Don't you get nasty with me, Max. I reckon I can stand up to you. I'm a long way away, remember that. What about Mahogany? You were his greatest fan in the spring. He's obviously come back very well. I was at Flemington yesterday. He looked good in the mounting yard. He looked like, you know, second up with him. He was even money, then 9 to 10. Not quite as brilliant as first. What I'm getting at, Max, is this. I should have said it quicker, is that it was a very workmanlike performance. Yes,
as you pointed out, second up, he did carry a lot of weight. It was a muddling run race. He got to the line first, but the beauty of the win, I think, as far as Mahogany was concerned, it shows that he is getting into a consistent vein. Now, this was my criticism of him in the spring. One run was brilliant. The other one run was 6 or 7 lengths less. Now, this was a very good performance. They're crawling in front, which you would have thought might have had Mahogany in trouble. He had a big weight. He's not a big horse. He's into a bit of a scrimmage there, but Greg Hall is riding him like a good thing, getting him to the outside.
He's 2 from the left, Max, and Mr. Mutual Respect in front. I thought it was a great run. Battlehawk had got around Mahogany, and Let's Cut Loose is held up here, isn't he, with the blue cap and the pinky type colours on the inside, but this is where Mahogany shows his class.
Yes, under a big weight too, Bruce. Went to the line very, very well. Ran a good last section, which you would expect. Now, appears to struggle for a couple of strides there, but now he's got him well beat.
Well, he goes on to the Australian Guineas and will be a hot favourite and maybe could challenge, well, he will challenge in the Australian Cup. He's good enough to run in anything. Second horse, excellent. Waikika Mukau was a fair run, Max. He's a bit toey in the mounting yard. He looked like he'd done plenty of work. I think he's got a good future.
Oh, no doubt about it, Bruce. So Waikika Mukau wouldn't have been suited by the muddling pace. Got back, ran home strongly. Never had the brilliance of Mahogany. Never will, but nevertheless, he's a promising horse.
Barman Galid was very impressive here. This was the big shock of the day. Now, Lady Jacquio's in 5th placing the outside. She'd missed the start slightly, then it pulled a bit. No pace here. Barman Galid 4th the rail. Now, she won the Geelong Oaks trial last October. Beat Constant Flight in that race and then was unplaced behind Arborea in the Oaks. Now, Burette, I think Mick Dittman was a little bit disappointed with Stephen King. Well, disappointed, I'm not sure if that's the word. He didn't get a lot of room on Burette here. Lady Jacquio outside. Now, you'll see Barman Galid go after Big Sky Montana, who bled, by the way, Big Sky Montana. Now Burette to the fence. Lady Jacquio looked like she might go to them, couldn't, and Barman Galid, who Max looked terrific in the mounting yard, and I think has improved a lot, held on.
Yes, Bruce, she looked a damn side better at the winning post if you backed her. I regard Stephen King as one of the best riders in Australia. I don't think that was a ride that he would be proud of. Lady Jacquio went onto the course, a good thing. He did not ride her like a good thing. I do think she should have won, and I'm not taking any of the gloss off the fact that Balm in Gilead will win races. But Stephen, 4 out of 10 for that effort.
Well, Simon Marshall, 10 out of 10 in the next with Durbridge. This was the Chester Manifold Stakes. He had a beautiful run all the way. He's in 4th place as we picked them up. Jack Pill leading Saracen, who's come off the rail. A Vedetto 3 deep, 2 lengths Durbridge, then Station Hand. A couple of the runs here, Max. Our Pompeii is 4th from the back. White Blaze, he's now 3 from the left. And Great Vintage in the pink colours, about near the rail and about 8th placing at the moment with the blinkers.
Yes, I was impressed by the performance of Great Vintage. I expected Durbridge to sprint very well at this stage of his preparation. He's a top-class racehorse. He's been prepared for this race. It wasn't what you would say a class field of sprinters. Certainly some good horses, including the runner-up. I like the way she got to the line. I like the way she's come back. I think on a dry track, she certainly would have troubled the winner of the Melbourne Cup, and she's obviously a class act.
Well, Bart Cummings pointing her towards the Sydney Cup. I'd fancy her in the BMW. The BMW is often won by a very strong stayer, and she is just that, and the dry tracks will suit her. Durbridge, he's been a terrific horse. I don't think he's any longer for the major stage, though, Max. Fresh and perhaps in Group 2s and 3s, but he's not the sort of horse I think will be taking a major part in your carnival. In fact, I think Lee Freeman might even send him to Brisbane and keep him fresh for there.
Yeah, well, that's good tactics. I don't think Durbridge stands a tough preparation at this stage of his career. Keep him fresh, keep him sprinting, and you'll get the type of runs he produced yesterday. And he's a very competitive racehorse.
The other key to Melbourne racing yesterday was Mr. Vitality winning the 2-year-old. He looked very good. And Mick Dittman came down and rode 3 winners for David Hayes, and he was at his absolute best on Princess Plume. Mick was out of sorts in the Spring Carnival. Max, he was back to his best yesterday.
Yes, well, I've always maintained that Sydney without Mick Dittman isn't the home of top jockeys. You had a taste of that yesterday. A master horseman in the George Moore class. That's Mick Dittman.
Tell us about Soho Square. Miss Kariba leading. This is the Expressway Stakes yesterday. Big Dreams nicely placed, right on the pace. Skating in second placing, was well in the market. Burst got back, as you'd expect. Soho Square covered a lot of ground. Now, Ruslan covered a lot of ground, so wasn't it a disadvantage yesterday?
According to a lot of jockeys, most good judges felt there was a bias, assisting horses coming down the outside. When you see the finish that Soho Square puts in, you wonder just whether it would have stopped him if he'd come along the fence. He's a top-class racehorse, beautifully turned out yesterday by Skinny Saunders, ridden incidentally by JC. That's what Jim Cassidy tags himself these days, JC. He certainly came forth with not loaves and fishes at Randwick yesterday, but bought the punters $200 worth of booze. So he's a generous man as well as a good rider. Did
he do that after the meeting, did he?
We've got what they call a punter's shout. Normally when an outsider wins, the bookies put their hands into their bags and buy the racegoers a can. Jim, of course, followed in. Kevin Moses put in 100 a week or so back. And Jim, of course, said, well, whatever you can do, Moses, I can do better. And he put in 200 yesterday.
Moses and JC. Gem of the West, G. Arborea, I reckon, was a good thing beaten here in the light finger stakes.
Yes, certainly. Arborea, had she got a clear run in the straight, would have won. It was a race of many fine runs. Certainly the first three place getters all performed well. But there's a horse in this called Constant Flight. Now, you won't see much of her. She got bowled over early. She went wide enough on the turn. I thought Kevin Moses was going into the Doncaster on Doncaster
now, Max,
Avenue to have a drink.
Get back to Arborea for a minute.
She's
now,
scooting along the fence. She's scooting. She's now with a white cap. Shane Dye about fourth, coming along the fence. At that stage, she looked like she was going to win, but the horse in front of her come right out, impeded her progress and allowed Gem of the West to come down the outside and beat it. But do you want winners or do you want the glory, Bruce? No, Constant Flight. Should have beaten Barmer Gilly out at Geelong. You'll get on Constant Flight next start. You won't get on Arborea.
Well, let me tell you, I backed Constant Flight at Geelong, Max. When 6-4 on.
Was it a good thing beaten?
Oh. Ruslan, it would have been a good thing, but didn't it cover a bit of ground? Gee, Rimsky's balloon pricked a bit yesterday, Max, sitting fourth the fence.
Yes, on the fence. Was it this bad on the fence? Rimsky ran faster time in winning in restricted company at his previous start. As he said, he was pricked yesterday. He just went into reverse. But Ruslan, again, with JC on board, charged down the outside. And you would say, well, is this track faster out there? But I think you've got to give Ruslan a little bit of credit. He's a pretty smart racehorse. He's produced a brilliant sprint, and certainly he's going to go on and win more races.
Max, you love to express an opinion. How would you rate him with a Reba? He won the 1200 yesterday. Would he be in a Reba's class?
Yes, he would be in a Reba's class. I'd have to have a look at the conditions before I know which way I was going to back, but I don't think either of them are as good as Mahogany.
I agree with you. Very quickly, the big race during the week for two-year-olds.
That is the Carlton Slipper Trial at Gosford. It should confirm or deny the Golden Slipper favourite, Marwina. A wide-open slipper at this stage, and one certainly lacking real depth.
And my favourite horse resumes at Sandown in the Orr Stakes, Golden Sword. We're going to talk to you next week, Max.
That'll be my pleasure.
Good on you, mate. Max Presnell from the Sydney Morning Herald. Next, Motorsport.